What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're over here at the shop. Randy's car is on the lift. This thing's kicking our butt, man. It has been very depressing. It has been very frustrating. We got issues. It's 100% suspension related, tuner related. It's me. I'm the tuner and the chassis guy. So I'm sucking. We're going to get fired here soon, so I got to step it up. We got to figure out how to make this thing work. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to actually plot out the suspension the way it is now. I've got a pretty good idea where it is. I think it's just too aggressive. I could be wrong. It could be completely not aggressive. But the way the car is behaving, I think it is. I think it's got too much rake on it as well. So we're going to try to drop down the back of the car. Maybe try to raise the front just a little bit. But we're going to change some bar angles. Let me show you what we got. We're going to calculate it, put it on the ground, measure it. I'm going to show you what the instant center is, how high it is, how long it is, and what the percentage of anti-squat is. And I'm going to show you that clearly that's not working. So I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to make some changes, and then we're going to be at the track this weekend trying it again. Now, last year before that, we can make this car go down any surface. Any surface. I didn't care what it was. If it was a reasonable no prep, I could get it to go down and make a halfway decent pass. But that is not the case now. So this year is busting our butt. It sucks because he spent so much money. He has spent a ton of money in the off-season making upgrades to the car, and I can't make it work. So it's very frustrating, but we're going to get it. I have no doubt. Here we go. Let me show you what we got. Don't forget to go to turbojohnracing.com, grab yourself some merchandise, comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys. So one of the things we noticed when we were at the track, it was having a hard time starting. So you reach down there, you grab a starter, and everything's good. The starter motor is loose. So I think that is one of our issues. One of the things that we had an issue with getting this thing to start. Now I don't know if that is what is wrong with the O2 sensor. I don't think it is, but we're gonna fix that. Devin was telling me, you know, potentially we got some wiring issues up there with the tire possibly scrubbing, but it did not scrub any, even with it being so low. So I think we're okay there. Devin did have some pretty bad news for us though. He said potentially we have burned up the left side oxygen sensor when we were having that major oiling issue from the turbo. It's possible that we burn it up. Luckily the Hollies do have right side O2 sensor. So if that's the case, we'll be able to swap it over and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, so going up on the lift, I got the measurements. This is our measurements. Cam height, really low in the front, 16.5 inches. Look at the angle of the top bar. Of course, the 19.125, that's on the upper bar on the rear end. And actually that lower bar, I thought it was level, but when I measured it there, it's not level at all. It's going downhill an inch, but that steepness on that upper bar is crazy. So I got to measure the length of the upper bar, the length of the lower bar, and then we're going to go to the instant center calculator. The one I use is just the general instant center calculator on baseline suspensions. So we'll go stick it in real fast and see what it comes out to be. All right, guys, well, here is the numbers, and it is brutal. I knew it was going to be off, but honestly, I didn't think it was going to be not this far off. 213%, almost 23 inches long and 8 inches high. And the weight of the car, too, he weighed the car at the very beginning of the year, and for some reason, I thought it was a little closer than what it was, but we were just thinking and talking. When the car got rebuilt this winter, everything out of the trunk is now in the front of the car. all the wiring, the battery. It had a lightweight battery before, but the battery, the wiring. The other thing, Randy, right off the tail is that wing. You have a carbon fiber wing now instead of an aluminum wing. How much did the aluminum one weigh? I mean, maybe 8-10 pounds. So, but that one weighs 1 or 2 pounds. So, man, we got a lot of work to do. We're gonna have to add probably at least 50 pounds to the trunk, maybe 100 pounds. We might end up with 100 pounds back there in the back to get the percentages where it needs to be. Bar angles is most of our problem, though. You can see that's just not gonna work, guys. It's not, and that's what we've been fighting. So, first thing we're gonna do, he's got new springs that are softer. We're gonna drop the car down. He's gonna cut the floor pan. You know, this thing's got, he can cut whatever he wants to out of the trunk essentially, because this thing's got a firewall. So, I mean, it's gonna get a little bit of smoke in here, but it's gonna be minimal. So he's gonna cut it out best he can so we can drop this thing down as far as we can. Change springs on it, and then we're gonna start calculating to get this under control. All right, boys, checking back in with you. See, he clearanced it up there. We've got clearance now, and like I was saying, there's a firewall back there. So, you know, this is not a problem at all. The smoke will still stay back in the back here. For the most part, some of it will get in the car, but it won't be too bad. So we've already changed springs. We took the 60s off and we put 50s on it. So they should compress about another inch there. And then when we put the extra weight in the car, it's gonna compress too. This is fully tight as far as like, there's no movement here. We probably could run that up just a little bit as well. The thing we're gonna run into problem with, so this is full extension. There was only a couple inches that we had between the frame rail here and the rear end. Now this is a big tube on the rear end, so that makes it a little closer than normal. But there again, guys, I mean, this car is, I mean, mini tubbed. So it is not full tubbed at all. So, you know, that's gonna be an issue. We're fixing to make it as low as we can possibly go without doing something different. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and, you see, we even had to do this. Randy was not happy about this when we first put the double bead locks on it. We had to cut the bracket because it was hitting the wheel just because of the offset stuff. So, but we're gonna go ahead and drop this down from here to here, all the way to the bottom hole. I think is probably, no, we're probably not gonna do that. We're gonna go down one hole. We're gonna go one hole here just because we got more support, more rigidity. And then we can move it up one hole here because, you know, dropping the body of the car, this was already downhill, so we can't go, this bar can't be facing downhill. We want it to be facing slightly uphill to level. So yeah, we may end up having to go to that bottom hole, even with that one. I don't remember, why is that one bent like that? Did we have to bend it? Oh, that's from the crash. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, we can put a wrench on it.
So we can fold it back out. I think we're gonna need to go in that bottom hole.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna have enough bar angle otherwise. So, oh yeah, that's where it hit and the wheel went over and bent and smacked it. And see, he's got the TBM brakes on this thing. These things are smooth, man. This thing works really nice, really good. You can see there's play in between the caliper. It might need to be shimmed a little bit more, but this thing spins super easy. No friction at all, no leverage. So I like these things, they look good. Okay, and then the top bar, what we're gonna go ahead and do, I mean, see it's facing downhill. It's hard to tell, but we're gonna move it up in the body. We may end up having to move it down on the rear end too. We're just gonna have to calculate the numbers and see what we come up with. The goal is I want the instant center to be about 30 to 32 inches long, and I want about 150% anti-squat. That's what's gonna work the best, I think. A lot of people don't look at the numbers, but you know, I like looking at the numbers. And the magic of TV. It goes slow when you're working on it, but on the YouTube video, it seems like it was very fast, but it was not. So we did move it all the way down to the bottom. So we did have to, like I said, we had to modify this to fit the wheel. The bead lock is like right here. So what he is going to do, we do have enough room. He's going to box this back in, and he's going to go like this over and weld a piece in here to this piece, just to give this some support. Just because, you know, it is, you know, you can see how it is. I mean, there's just not a lot there. We're going to try to go really fast with it. So we want it to be as supported as possible. The higher it is up here, the more support it has. But to get the bar angles right, that's what we're going to need to do, I think. We're gonna try it there. The other thing we could have done is possibly move that one up one hole, but we've only got one hole there. And I don't know, we may still end up having to move it into this hole. It depends on how it drops. The upper bars, we moved all the way to the top of the bracket, and we'll see how that works out. At full extension here, it is now slightly uphill, and I mean ever so slightly. But that's generally when that top bar flattens out, that's your max travel. And you see it's got the long travel shocks on the back. But when we put weight in it, this thing ought to sink down quite a bit. So we may not need, you know, it to top out all the way, which of course, everything doesn't exactly happen as we always intend. If y'all remember when I threw the cups out of mine, which that was theoretically impossible, I thought, but it happened. So we're gonna get the wheels on it real fast, get it back down on the ground, and actually get a measurement again and show you where we're at and if we need to change anything. All right, guys, so we are squashed up under here, under the car, and we moved the upper bar. See how we moved it? It's got a nice good angle on it. We're still measuring it, but look how close the rear end is now to the body of the car. We had to move that bar down because the upper control arm was hitting the anti-roll bar. So that is now clearanced it by a little bit, but now the anti-roll bar itself is hitting the hog's head up there. So this is as low as the car can go. So we're fixing to calculate it out now. The only things I've got to measure is the front one up here, and we'll see what that is, and we'll plug and chug the number. This thing is low. What do you think, Randy?
That's pretty low.
It's pretty low. It's pretty low. All right, guys, man, that thing is low. We've lowered it a solid inch, maybe an inch and a half. Tires tucks under there pretty good. And you can see now everything is kind of sticking through. That anti-roll bar arm is through. So we probably inch and a half. Looking at the car, now the front end is not on it at the moment, but when you look at the car, it looks like it is mostly level. So let's chug the numbers real fast. Let's plug and chug the numbers. All right, guys, so this is better, but I still don't know that this is going to be the best starting point. 179%, 30 inches long, 8.78 high. And you can see the difference over here. It is a lot longer. And of course, the way the anti-squat works is the further it goes out, you got the neutral line that runs up like this. So the further it is out, the higher it has to go. Well, here you go. This is the final numbers. This is what we're going to try at the track. We ended up moving the bar up, the lower bar, one hole back up on the rear end, and that gave us these numbers. These numbers are all approximate. You know, if you're off just a little bit, it gives you an idea, though, of what you're at. 161% anti-squat, 31.5 inches long, and about 8.5 inches high. Overall, it's one of those things where trying to make it better is tough, man. It's tough. I mean, the car just was simply not behaving and not working at all. But I think this might work. I mean, it might. And, you know, additionally putting the 100 pounds in the back is gonna help. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. See y'all Saturday at Piedmont. Later.